Hi folks, a while ago I got a question in the comment section of one of my videos from one of my subscribers named Hachim. I think that's how you say his name. And the quote was something like, where does fear and pain come from? And there was something more about how to manage fear and pain in all situations. I don't know how to do that in all situations. But where do fear and pain come from? What is its origins? And that's a good question, and I suppose people have been answering or trying to answer that for thousands of years, okay? Up till they invented Netflix and social media. I don't really need to ask these questions so much anymore, they're not so relevant, okay? But on a more serious note, that's what it is. Pain and fear and suffering comes from, it's a natural part of life, but also it comes from a lack of meaning in life, more so. I think existential suffering and pain, meaninglessness, it's a pain and it's a torment on its own, okay? That's a big one. Not to have meaning, alright, in life, and what does it stand for, and what is its purpose, and is there a reason and rhyme to it? Is there purpose to suffering? to just anything really. I mean, the meaning and purpose gives a reason to continue, to fight on, to persist, okay, to not give up. Alright, so that's one thing. So without meaning, because there's different kind of pain. I mean, there's physical pain, there's physical fear, there's existential fear, there's existential pain, right? There's all different types of pain. Pain is one word, obviously. Existential pain might be the fact that one day you're going to die, and which is a fear, it's the unknown, and you haven't done much of your life, you haven't made your life very meaningful. And so it's accounted for nothing, very little, and that's an existential pain, alright? For an example, or just a physical pain is you got a toothache or something like that. Heartbreak can be a physical pain, and an existential pain. And so, anyways, there's many different ways that you can slice this cake, in a sense. And you can define what I'm saying. But what I kind of wanted to touch on was one of the difficulties of life, one of the greatest challenges of life is duality. Okay, it's I would say, one of the biggest. It's part of our every breathing moment of existence, duality. Okay, and it's incredible the way that it's designed, and I want to do another video on how duality is actually two sides of the same coin, and that's where a lot of suffering comes from, a lot of pain comes from, a lot of anguish comes from. So I want to do another talk on that, but I wanted to touch on some points here that to just delve into just this a little bit. Like one of the deep pains and suffering of life is that you can only know light by knowing dark, okay? You can only know summer by knowing winter, alright? You can only know grief if you've had hope, or you only know hope if you have grief, right? You only know God if you know the devil, in a way. You need to have the opposites at play in order for there to be a story, a narrative going on. And that's very hard to understand. It's like a type of tough love. What do I mean? Tough love. So you need to have sickness in order to appreciate health. Okay? There's just no ways that I've seen, even in my own life, when I appreciated how physically ill I was, that inspired and motivated me to feel well, and what health actually meant. It defined what health meant by knowing how I feel in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. Now I understand what healthy feels like, what well-being feels like. Okay, so it's both sides of the same coin, hope and despair. You're not going to have hope if you don't have despair, right? The two go hand in hand. Alright, it's just the way that it is. You need to know what it feels like to be disconnected in order to feel what it's like to be reconnected. Okay? There's just no way about it. You have to know both ends of the scales, right? You have to know your shadow, your internal shadow, right, which Jung would phrase it, to know you need to know your ego or your inauthentic self to know your authentic self, or from the shadow and the ego to the id to the spirit or the soul, something like that. You need to know, and you need to have them in balance your whole life, right? This is the whole point of existence. A massive point of existence is the balance of the yin and the yang. As Alan Watts would say, it's the two go round and round and are trying to eat each other up. Okay, but you have to have a balance. You have to know the center place. You have to be whatever it is, bit of both, and that's the whole way through life. You're going to live in duality, and the duality is painful because it's like, why are we tested on faith? Right? This is a big thing. Why are we tested? Why do good things happen to bad people? Or bad things happen to good people, and good things often happen to bad people. But everybody pays the price in the end, right? Well, the scales have to be leveled out. That's what karma is about, and a lot of other things. And so, you have to know deceit in order to know lies. In order to know truth. You have to know lies. You have to go through the lies in order to know what truth is, right? And not just in a knowing, but in a feeling, right? When you can actually feel what is truth. Because if you don't know what is truth and you don't know what is lies or deceit, you don't know which way to go in your life. You don't know which way to aim. You don't know which way to direct. You don't know what decisions to make. You don't know how to better yourself, right? You need to see where not to go to where you should go. And that's constantly, life is challenging us constantly. So we put in this predicament, and in this very predicament we suffer tremendously, because it's just like, sometimes just don't want to be in this predicament. It's just too taxing, it's just too demanding, it's just too confusing, it's just too isolating. The loneliness, the despair of it at times, the depression, the disconnectedness of it at times, the hopelessness of it at times. It's like, I don't want to know that. All I want to know is the connectedness, the oneness. I want to know the light. I want to know the good times, the joyful times, the blissful times, the sweet times. I don't want to know the sour times. I don't want to know the despair times. I don't, but it's inevitable. That's the thing, it's inevitable. And so you got to say, well, who am I in all of this predicament? In this dichotomy of existence? How strong am I? How can I face the music, or just do I back down and hide under the covers, right? Because essentially, a lot of the way that this narrative or the story or this dream of life that we play, part of the script, in a sense, part of its nature, part of its coding, is for you to become an individual and for you to realize what resources lie within you, to become self-actualized, right? Become soul-activated or realized, continuously realizing it, right? And so you need to be in this dichotomy. You need to be in the duality constantly, to live in the duality, in order to become great, in order to overcome the duality in a way. Not to overcome it completely, but you see, this is where the point of faith and meaning comes in, right? Where meaning comes in is that no matter how bad the one side of duality is, and no matter how good the other side is, and no matter how much you're tormented by both sides, right? The ups and the downs, the life and the death. That's the thing, is that life and death are interconnected. Every moment you're alive, it's another moment you're dying. Okay? And so you need to have a sense of meaning through all the disparity, and I'm saying, and while you being tossed around through it all, the highs and the lows, right? Getting beaten up and then nurtured and healed. It's ridiculous. Like I said, it's like a tough love, right? Getting kicked around, getting disrespected, getting abandoned, in this physical realm by whatever it is, getting rejected, and then being accepted, being conditionally loved, which is not even love at all, and then unconditionally loved. And so the thing is that this waxing and this waning, it causes a bitterness, it causes a strife, it causes a struggle, it causes an exhaustion, it causes a sense of just like, I just don't want to be part of this game, game in this way. I don't want to be part of the setup, which most people don't want to be part of, right? It's too taxing, it's too demanding, it's too heavy, it's too complicated, it's too confusing, it's too overwhelming, right? I don't know what to do with it. It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. There's no order to it. The order for myself is where I look upon society and culture to give me that order, right? When I'm being told what to do and who I'm supposed to be, regardless of existential nature of existence, regardless of spirituality or the bigger nature of life. I just want to live on a materialistic level where 1 plus 1 equals 2. Right? I want a scientific basis. I want practicality. I want a general consensus. I want certainty. Okay? I want to be told. I want to be led. I want to be shown. I want to mimic. I want to copy. Right? I don't want to have to think for myself. I don't want to be connected to this existential nature of existence. I don't want to be. I don't want to know that everybody I know is going to die one day and so am I. I don't want to know that. I don't want to see other people suffering and in pain. It doesn't please me, right? It doesn't make sense to me, right? It makes me feel scared, volatile, okay? To die. That I'm susceptible to pain and losing a limb or whatever it is, and other people in my life, I don't want to be a part of it. It's hurt me so badly, and the threat of it, right? And also from a religious threat, the threat of it, because sometimes God is in certain religions is their tyrant. The threat of it, it's like, well, what kind of existence is this? This is not a loving, conditional, unconditional opportunity for self-actualization and self-growth. It's just not. Right? It's a rigged game. The table is tilted, folks. That's what that's what creates a bitterness, right? I'm saying a lot here. And again, I want to get more into this. It's like you can't have a miracle if you don't have tragedy. The two go hand in hand. When we pray for a miracle, we need a miracle. A miracle is something that comes from beyond, that solves us of our current trauma or situation or challenge, or something that's going to defeat us, right? Or something or other. When we've got our backs against the wall, it's like, well, that's when a miracle comes in. But if everything is fine and dandy and glory, which is never really most of the time, right? It could be for one Sunday morning, but easy like Sunday morning, as Lionel Richie would say. But and so that's it. You need a miracle, right? So was it the Grateful Dead or Terence McKenna quote? Then we need a miracle every day because of circumstances. So there's almost like a longing. We put into this conundrum. We put into this situation where we are called to long for meaning and long for divinity, right? Long let's just say meaning, or divinity or grace, Like who once said it, the way that a dog will howl for its owner when its owner has gone away for some period of time, that calling from the dog, that howling in every bit of its fiber in that dog, you can feel it in that howl, and you can feel it, and you feel the empathy for that dog, and the pain of that dog, and that dog is howling, and it's terrible. The loneliness and despair of that dog that's feeling, the missingness, the broken-heartedness that dog is feeling. But only in that moment in that way does it, that when the owner comes back, is it overjoyed? Is it overwhelmed with excitement and enthusiasm and love and affection, right? And that's what I'm saying. In a way, It doesn't have to be this way, but we are supposed to long for meaning, long for purpose, long for the divine, long for that our lives have significance and value, right? And we, with every fiber of our bloody being, through the darkest of times, through the loneliest of times, through the most difficult, challenging of times, the helplessness, the hopelessness of things, geez, really, that's when we put in that situation, that we call out and we long for something, right? We long for something where we long for ourselves to stop the addictions, to stop the self-betrayal and the self-abandonment and the self-sabotage, and we long in ourselves and we look and we say, please, enough of this, enough of not having any self-control, enough of this tyrant of a mind, right? Enough of these addictions, or this overeating, or this overdrinking, or enough of this pornography, enough of being out of control, and this self-inflicted constant pain every single day. Enough of it, right? Enough of it. And so with that, and then it's a call for greatness. It's a call for self-improvement. It's a self-control, self-discipline, self-awareness. Right? I'm saying within the self now. And then also along that you know that you're so finite, that there's so little that you actually know. Right? There's so, like on a metaphysical level. That's another word, on a metaphysical level. There's so little that you actually know about. And so you're set in stone right now. You're set in the flesh. Right, you set in the material world with your name and your identity and your sex and your ego and your personality and your finances and your country of origin, your nationality or something like that. You set in stone in a way for now, and so you want to, that it's heaviness, it's density, and you don't know for certainty that there lies beyond a sense of fluidness, of mysticism. Right, of the mystical, of the magic, of the metaphysical, right, plan behind it all. You don't know that it's all for good, or it's all for bad, or whatever it is. It's all for meaning, or it's not meaningful. It's such a hard bloody pill to swallow in my own life, to be tested on this, to see where you stand with all of it. This is painful, folks. This is even for myself. The way that I am tested and what I have been through, I at times say no ways. This is meaning to it. This is divine, ordinance. I don't know if that's a word, but you know what I'm saying, to it. Divine design, intentional, intelligent design behind it for my own personal growth, right? What I've been through, like, hell no. Like, gee whiz. And some days also, and sometimes when bad news hits me, I'm like, here we go again. Can I put the pieces together? Can I find the leap of faith here? Can I, understand this and surrender to it and know, while I'm in the stone, while I'm, marble-like stone with a wired brain, like physically, I'm saying hardwired, neurologically wired in certain ways, and patterns, habits, right, biologically, physiological, right, that I need to break that, fears that I need to face, doubt that I need to go into the heart of, right, in order for something that's going on, I'm saying in order for it to be able for myself to make it through. To make it through. To make it through. And so that's it, and it's continuously. And so again, for myself, and from out there, it's heavy. It's heavy. It's the tough love which we cannot understand from a rational point of view, from a physical point of view. I mean, a child doesn't understand tough love, right? There's many things that a child doesn't understand that it needs to be disciplined for, but not like sometimes a spanking, So it can understand the seriousness of it. And it's like, well, how does mom and dad love me? They don't want me to eat ice cream all the time, and I want to go to bed late, and I want to jump on my bed and whatever it is, and fight with my sister and kick the dog or something like that. And when they come and they tell me what to do, they don't love me. A lot of the time parents don't really love their own children. But I'm saying in the circumstance where we look upon the reason in the realm of what's going in our life and what's happening, and we look around and we say, well, this is for my greater good. This is what's happening on a global scale right now is for the greater good or for greater meaning. Not let's even say good, but it has meaning inherent in it. It's like, come on now. That's it. The chaos can be so overwhelming, can be so... it's like a psychedelic. People, you take a psychedelic, and while you're on it, it's hell. It's like, I'll never ever do this again. There is nothing good that can come out of this. This is just terrifying. This is brutal. I feel sick. I feel confused. I feel disassociated. I feel like I've lost my mind. I feel like I'm never coming back. I feel that it's all too wonky and, I don't understand it. I don't know. I can't use my mind rationally. I don't know what day of the week it is. When I look at my watch, I just see just numbers. I can't understand concepts. It's like, what's going on with me? You feel like you're being tormented. You're being ripped apart, shredded. And when you come out of that psychedelic journey, right, you realize how healed, how, not did it make sense, but how necessary it was. Right? You don't understand what actually went on there, but you feel in yourself more incorporated, you feel more aligned, you feel more cleansed, you feel more purified, right? You do. And so that's it. It's like, the medicine. We don't understand that medicine burns. Medicine doesn't go down well, folks. That's the contradictory nature, again, of this existence. That medicine is bitter. But wait a minute, how can medicine be bitter? I just want it to heal me and I just want to feel better. But you have to go through the fire. You have to go through the fire. There's no other way. You have to go through the pain. You have to go through the fears. You have to go through the darkness. You have to do. And you have to go through the superficial light. You have to go through... That's a big thing. Because again... Like to know what true connectedness is, true divinity, true relationship with source, right? True meaning, not superficial. Like what I'm saying is that a lot of the time, we get happy because it's the weekend, or because, it's we're going on vacation, or we're getting the latest cell phone, or we did go to church, now we feel better about ourselves afterwards, or something like that. Or I did make a big donation to this charity, but my name was all over it. It wasn't anonymous or something like that. But I feel good. Superficial feelings of feeling good, of feeling joy, of feeling ecstasy, a lot of the time. Right? Got a new pair of jeans, baby. It's all looking good, driving a new fancy car, although it hasn't been paid off and the bank still owes it, and all the clothes that I own are still on credit. Superficial, garbage. Oh, I'm eating a McDonald's. This, hamburger, this tastes good, man. It doesn't get better than this. I'm watching the best porn that I've seen in a while. The camera angle, the women are hot. It's exactly, it's superficial. And so your relationship with God, whatever it is that the priests or the rabbis or whoever's told you, the gurus or something like that has told you, and that's all going to be broken down, right? It's all that which is of your own ingenuity and your own authenticity, and of what your soul, the language of your soul speaks, the emotion of your soul, the way that your soul and spirit is enriched, right, is not going to be by a McDonald's burger, is not going to be by a fancy car or how many likes you get on Facebook. It's not going to be. So all of that stuff's got to break down. All of it's got to, burn to ash, right? And that's a great big part of you. In the beginning stages, it's actually most of who you are. So it's like for the bitter medicine from like the initiate, the uninitiated going through the first stages. It's like you telling me that I need to die? in order to be reborn? Look, this sounds pathological. This sounds unreasonable. This doesn't make sense at all. That my ego is going to take a back step, or whatever it is, or that I got to embrace the deception in my life, and that my life is mostly a lie, the inauthenticity of it. I thought that I had this. I thought I was someone special. I thought people recognized me. I thought that God was this, and Santa Claus was that, and my motivation in life was this, and and what you see is what you get, and it's all been a lie. And you're asking me to allow that in and question, truly question, and who you are behind it. Right? And how you've suppressed all your darker emotions, all the parts of you that are the greatest parts of you that you've been told to suppress by culture and society and your very parents. You're told to suppress and push away and deny. Right? And now and my parents still love me and culture and they're my best friend. But I'm saying I've been mutilated. Yes. You don't even know how mutilated and conditioned and traumatized you have been. You don't know that. And in order to know your freedom, in order to know who you are underneath all that, you've got to go through all of that muck. You've got to go through all of that muck, all of the misconceptions, all of the false ideas that have sprouted and been growing in your mind, all of it. And you've been doing it for 40 years, 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, that's it. The earlier on in the game you catch it, you're better off you are, depending on the strength of your soul and the age of your soul. But you catch it late, and so that's it. People say, you're telling me this is the road to freedom. So, well, baby, since all you've known is slavery, now it's the sun is returning for you. It's now all you're going to know is freedom. But the every move to freedom is going to be a lot of pain and suffering. It's not going to be like, oh well, here you go. That's what's so hard about it. It's not just, well, here you go. Like, here's your freedom. Well done. And within 24 hours, it's like, no, you got to fight for your freedom, to constantly, daily. You just get little tastes of it every now and again, but that's what you're moving towards, and every step towards your freedom is going to be just as painful as you can imagine. And that's the way it's summed up. And then, so it's so easy to be made a victim of. Who wants to engage in this? Who wants to do this? Who wants to do this? Who wants to know that they've been living with a tyrant in their head, and the tyrant is there? Who wants to know that? Who's going to, in the beginning stages of knowing that, coming to that kind of truth, yes, like, who wants to know that constantly, every move you make, like that Sting song, every breath you take, I'll be watching you, right? And that's the ego, that's the mind. I'll be telling you what to do. I'll be controlling you, your motivations, your beliefs. It's like, what? What are you saying? I mean, no one wants to know this, but this is the bittersweet. This is the bitter medicine. This is the bitter medicine. So coming back and ending off on this is that when one realizes what the truth is, more so what this is, and the meaning and the purpose of life, and what it is, and what one has to go through, and what endures in this life, in not on the superficial, on the metaphysical, on the esoteric, on the spiritual, right? On the psychological, right? When they know, when you met with it constantly, it's like, this is not something that you signed up for, right? I'm saying it can't be the design of an intelligent designer. In the beginning stage, it's like there's just no ways. There's just no ways. And I have my days, because I'm not anywhere close to where I'm talking about of this realization or whatever it is. Like, I have my days, I'm jumping around, where I feel my goose is cooked, I'm painted into a corner, but there's always a little ray of hope. I mean, I must say, a little ray of sunshine, a little bit of ray of hope in my life. Sometimes that ray is very big, sometimes it's very small, okay? But, so, I'm jumping here, because I want to be realistic and personalize it for myself. So, you've got to take leaps of faith all the time, but you're never going to fully be able to, in the stone, in the material, in the flesh, be able to have no doubt. I mean, even Jesus had his moment of doubt on the cross, right? It's like you're going to have the doubt, and you need the doubt. And again, it's like, this seems like a turd in the punch bowl, you know. It just seems like you've been deceived. It seems like you were set up. It feels like a trap. You know, life can feel like a trap. It's so the way that it's designed, that when you wake up to it, it's like you're telling me that every step towards my freedom is going to be painful. You know, that sounds like a trap. Every bit of my healing is going to be disorientating. It's going to be, you know, damning in a way. Yes, right? You mean that to have faith, I've got to have despair. I've got to know despair, true despair. Say yes. To know disconnected, you need to know connected. It sounds like a trap. Anyway, so trying to end this off, but yeah, that's the idea that you don't really know in the flesh. There's always going to be that doubt, but you need a sense of hope, and you need a sense of meaning to carry you through. And if you don't have that, right, then you suffer a deep existential and metaphysical pain and suffering. You know, that knocks you down, that you aren't able to function, that you aren't able to reason, that you aren't able to carry on, right? And that eventually just depletes you completely, puts you into, you know, trauma, chaos, and then the ego comes along, the inauthentic self comes along, and culture comes along and picks you up and pulls you over its shoulder and says, "Don't worry, you know, we'll help you out here, right? We'll distract you, we'll pick you up." You know, and that, you don't want to do that. Anyway, so I'm saying a lot, but I think you kind of get what I'm trying to say here, I suppose. But it's big, folks, and it's serious, and it's real, and it's not to be taken lightly when the whole world, or 95% of the world, just takes it so lightly. It's big, folks. It's really big. It's huge, and it's going to ask everything you got, which is what's necessary to bring out everything that you've got, right? Every bit part of you. All right, folks. Enough on that for now. Hope that made a bit of sense. We'll chat soon. Take care.